The British public woke up today to shocking news that has sent ripples through political and economic circles alike. According to grim forecasts from the Centre for Economics and Business Research, CEBR, Britain's economic trajectory is on course for a stunning humiliation. By 2029, the UK's GDP per head is expected to be closer to Guyana than the United States. For a nation that has long prided itself on its global influence and robust economy, this revelation is nothing short of devastating, and the implications for Keir Starmer's leadership are catastrophic. At the heart of this crisis is an undeniable failure to meet the lofty promises that Starmer made upon taking office. Living standards, once a central pillar of his agenda, have stagnated, leaving critics to question whether his government has the competence to steer the country out of its current malaise. By 2029, the UK's GDP per head is projected to sit at $86,141, £68,800, a figure alarmingly close to Guyana's $78,695 and a far cry from the US's towering $148,411. It's a brutal indictment of a nation that was once the envy of the world. Pushpin Singh, a leading economist at CEBR, didn't mince words in his assessment. The UK is falling behind in the global economic race, he said, highlighting persistent productivity issues and ballooning welfare spending as key culprits. One only has to look at how the United States has surged ahead in productivity growth post-pandemic. Meanwhile, the UK is struggling with inefficiencies in the civil service and unsustainable debt levels. Singh's warning couldn't be clearer. Britain is at a crossroads, and without decisive action, the slide into mediocrity may become irreversible. The blame, however, isn't confined to Starmer's government alone. The October budget, spearheaded by Chancellor Rachel Reeves, has come under fire for its reliance on tax hikes to stabilise public finances. While the government has claimed that this budget was a necessary reset to repair crumbling public services, critics argue that it lacked vision and ambition. The promised growth of 2% by 2025 feels like a drop in the ocean when viewed against the bleak long-term forecasts. But the economic woes don't exist in isolation. They are part of a broader narrative of political mismanagement and strategic missteps that have plagued Starmer's tenure. Perhaps nowhere is this more apparent than in the ongoing controversy surrounding the Chagos Islands deal. Initially hailed as a historic agreement to resolve decades of disputes with Mauritius, the treaty is now mired in financial disagreements and political backlash. Mauritius's Deputy Prime Minister, Paul Berenger, has accused the UK of quibbling over a small amount, delaying the agreement and jeopardising what should have been a landmark moment in bilateral relations. At the heart of the dispute lies Diego Garcia, a critical military base shared by the UK and the US. While the agreement guarantees British and American access to the base for the next 99 years, the financial terms have become a sticking point. Berenger's fiery rhetoric, insisting that Mauritius would not accept a pathetic offer, has fueled nationalist sentiment at home and embarrassed the UK on the global stage. The controversy doesn't end there. The deal's timing has also drawn criticism from the incoming US administration, with Donald Trump's camp expressing serious concerns. Marco Rubio, Trump's pick for Secretary of State, has described the agreement as a threat to US security, warning that it could undermine the strategic value of Diego Garcia in an increasingly volatile world. With Trump's inauguration looming, the urgency to finalize the deal is mounting, but so too are the risks of diplomatic and political fallout. Back in the UK, the Chagos Deal has ignited a fierce debate within Starmer's government. Shadow Foreign Secretary Dame Priti Patel has been particularly vocal, accusing Labour of selling out British interests. How much is the British taxpayer going to be liable for each year, and in total over 99 years, she demanded in Parliament, echoing concerns from the Conservative benches about the long-term costs and strategic implications of the treaty. Foreign Office Minister Stephen Doughty has attempted to defend the agreement, arguing that it secures the military base's operations for the foreseeable future. However, his assurances have done little to quell the growing backlash. For many, the Chagos controversy is emblematic of a government that appears reactive rather than proactive, scrambling to manage crises instead of setting a clear and decisive agenda. As if these challenges weren't enough, Starmer is now facing a rebellion from within his own party over immigration, a lightning rod issue that threatens to tear Labour apart. A group of Labour MPs from Brexit-supporting constituencies in the North and Midlands, calling themselves the Red Wall Caucus, has issued a stark warning. Unless Starmer takes a tougher stance on immigration, Labour risks losing these critical seats to Nigel Farage's Reform Party. The stakes couldn't be higher. Many of these constituencies were once Labour strongholds, only to flip to the Conservatives in Boris Johnson's 2019 landslide. Winning them back was seen as a cornerstone of Starmer's electoral strategy, but dissatisfaction over the government's perceived inaction on immigration is threatening to derail those plans. Jonathan Hinder, the Labour MP for Pendle and Clitheroe, has been particularly vocal, calling for greater clarity and urgency in the government's messaging. "The British people want our borders secure and net migration brought down," he said, pointing to record-high immigration figures and the growing frustration among his constituents. Hinder's concerns are shared by many within the Red Wall Caucus, who feel that Starmer's leadership has failed to connect with the priorities of working-class voters in their regions. This internal revolt is a glaring sign of the challenges facing Labour. The party is caught between competing pressures. On one hand, its traditional base in the North and Midlands demands tougher immigration policies. On the other, its metropolitan supporters in the South advocate for a more compassionate approach. Navigating this divide will be critical for Starmer, but so far his attempts to bridge the gap have been met with scepticism and discontent. The broader question looming over all these scandals is one of leadership. Can Keir Starmer rise to the moment and chart a new course for Britain, or is his government destined to be remembered as one of missed opportunities and unfulfilled promises? The economic forecasts are dire, the political challenges daunting, and the public's patience is wearing thin. Starmer's critics argue that he has yet to demonstrate the decisive vision needed to tackle these multifaceted crises. From the economic stagnation revealed in the CEBR report to the diplomatic fiasco over the Chagos Islands and the growing rift within Labour over immigration, the challenges facing his government are immense. Each scandal chips away at public confidence, and the spectre of electoral defeat looms ever larger. The stakes for Britain are equally high. A nation once seen as a global leader is now grappling with questions about its place in the world. The warnings from economists like Pushpin Singh are clear. Without significant reforms, Britain risks slipping further behind, its living standards eroding and its influence waning. The choices made in the coming months will determine not only Starmer's legacy, but also the future trajectory of the UK itself. For now, the scandals continue to mount, and the drama shows no signs of abating. Starmer may have once envisioned a government defined by progress and renewal, but as it stands, his tenure risks being overshadowed by crises, controversies, and the creeping sense that Britain is falling behind. Whether he can turn things around remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the road ahead will be anything but smooth.